If you feel exhausted all the time, resentful for reasons you can't quite explain, or weirdly disconnected from yourself, even though everyone around you seems happy with you, there's a chance you're not actually being kind. You're being compliant, and those are not the same thing. One of the hardest things I ever had to admit to myself was that a lot of what I called kindness was actually fear. Fear of disappointing people, fear of being misunderstood, fear of someone changing their opinion of me. I wasn't giving from a full heart. I was negotiating for approval. And that realization was offensive to me because I genuinely saw myself as this loving, generous, thoughtful person, which I am. But I also had to face the fact that every time I said yes when I meant no, every time I swallowed my opinion to keep the peace, every time I smiled through something that felt wrong in my body, I was abandoning myself to manage someone else's emotional experience. That is self-betrayal. And the sneaky part is that people-pleasing looks so good from the outside. Nobody applauds you for having boundaries. They applaud you for being easy. Nobody says, wow, she has such a strong sense of self. They say, she's so sweet, she never causes problems. But sweet girls often end up carrying problems that were never theirs. What changed everything for me was understanding something psychologists have talked about for years. Resentment is usually information. It's often a signal that you've crossed your own boundaries. And think about it. Have you ever agreed to something, smiled, said, of course, and then spent the next 3 days irritated about it? That irritation didn't appear out of nowhere. Part of you knew the answer was no. You just didn't let her speak. And I think a lot of women have this unconscious belief that being loved requires self-sacrifice, as if the price of belonging is self-abandonment, as if being a good person means constantly making yourself smaller, quieter, more flexible, more available. Meanwhile, the people we admire most usually don't do that. The women with the strongest energy walk into a room completely unedited. They're not rude, they're not selfish, they're just honest. If they don't want to go, they don't go. If they disagree, they say so. If they need rest, they rest. They trust that authenticity is enough, and that trust is magnetic. I remember having this moment where I realized I could tell exactly how much I respected myself by how quickly I answered the request. Because when I was people-pleasing, I responded immediately. Someone asked for a favor? Yes. Someone needed my time? Sure. Someone wanted access to my energy? Take it. No pause, no consideration, no consultation with myself. Meanwhile, if I was buying a shirt online, I'd spend 30 minutes deciding. Imagine treating a stranger's request with more importance than your own needs. That's wild when you think about it. Now I give myself space, not because I'm difficult, because I matter. A simple "let me think about it" changed my life. It gave me time to hear my actual answer. And here's the beautiful thing nobody tells you. The people who genuinely love you do not benefit from your self-betrayal. They benefit from your honesty. Healthy relationships can survive disappointment. They can survive a boundary. They can survive hearing no. What they cannot survive forever is quiet resentment disguised as kindness. So if you've been feeling stretched thin lately, ask yourself a very uncomfortable question. Where am I saying yes to avoid discomfort? Because every unnecessary yes usually hides a no that's waiting to be honored. And every time you choose yourself, something extraordinary happens. You start trusting yourself. You stop performing. You stop managing everyone's perception of you. You stop shape-shifting. You become solid, predictable to yourself, safe for yourself. And there is something incredibly attractive about a woman who is no longer negotiating her worth through accommodation. Not because she's hard, not because she's detached, because she finally understands that her needs are just as sacred as everyone else's. People-pleasing promises connection, but self-respect creates it. One asks, what do I need to become so nobody leaves? The other asks, what happens if I stay loyal to myself? Choose the second question. It will cost you some approval. It will also give you your life back, love you no matter what.